How can we go about demystifying the stock market? I'm Mike Loder. Investment Insights starts right now. Hello everyone and welcome back to Investment Insights presented by The Investor's Way, where each episode we provide informative interviews about wealth creation alongside those practical tips of how we can master our money. In today's program, we provide clarity amidst the clutter and offer strategies to conquer apprehension that surrounds the stock market and of course investing in it as well. Joining me today is Andrew Woodward at The Investor's Way, here to help me understand and declutter all of that noise that surrounds the stock market. Andrew, thanks for joining me.
Great to be with you again and talking about stocks, Mike.
Now, your experience with clients over the years has indicated a bit of fear. There's a fear factor when you look at the stock market. People have apprehension about getting involved, especially when it comes to putting their money into something. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, look, there's a number of things that we hear from clients as to why they avoid the stock market. The biggest one is the fact that when they hear about it, particularly in the media, it's all fearful.
True.
And so it's always about these crashes or corrections and all the down days that the stock market has.
Big red graphs.
Big red graphs and all that fear of people running for cover. So that's the first one. And then you've got the fact that no one's taught about how to invest in the stock market. So there's this fear of the unknown. And we can't control what's going to happen tomorrow in the market. And so not knowing what's coming next creates this fear of, I just don't know how I'm going to go about it. And so this just builds this overarching fear of why or when can I get into the stock market, and therefore I won't do anything instead.
Yeah, it's very much like trying to turn into a highway and you're not sure and you can't take your chance. You're just not going to do it if it's not safe. What's been your experience with how people generally select stocks? I know people get caught up on the things that they like, the things they don't like, the amount of stocks. And of course it's a lot of letters and numbers.
A lot of letters, yes. Yeah, so look, there's three ways that people that I talk to who commonly get their stock selection tips. The first one is an obvious one. It's from a mate at a barbecue.
Love it.
And so they get to hear from their mates what the next big thing is, and they'll run out and go and invest in it. So that's the first one. The second one is, and this is a strange one, but they'll overhear something on their way to onto work, on the commute. They'll overhear someone talking about stocks with a mate or whatever.
It's the next big thing. You've got to be, you've got to be on this thing.
And people will actually go and invest based on that. And then the third one is that they'll hear a talking head on a TV show, like what we might be doing now. Hello. And there are people around the world who are making all of these, predictions about what's going to happen in the stock market tomorrow, and people are following that advice with no other, support mechanism around why they made that investment. And when it doesn't go well, that just perpetuates that fear factor of the market.
Yeah, very well said. So you advocate people use data to make their stock investments. I'm wondering what data you suggest people use. Where's the best place to go if it's not Jim at the barbecue?
Yeah, so don't go to Jim at the barbecue. I am very much about data driven. So there are two types of people that when we come to investing, there's data and then there's what's happened in the past and charting. But I look at some key metrics that I've learnt from Warren Buffett over the years. So things like, let's look at some of the larger stocks. Let's look at how they're going to react to interest rate rises and their debt coverage and their earnings per share. And we want to see that they've got a history of growing their profits and a history of growing their dividends, and that they have their debt under control and they've got their assets producing profits and income. So just a few key metrics, and that can tell us who is more likely to produce results going forward. So I am data driven. I'm not looking for the next big thing. I'm looking for those that have a track record of producing good results that will continue to do it into the future.
And that's very interesting. I understand it can be exciting to look at those red downturn numbers, but as soon as you zoom out on a company, on Google Stocks or whatever, you zoom out and there is a trend of growth for a lot of these companies. So it's interesting that, people focus in on the negative stuff.
Yeah.
With 7 criteria to apply, I assume it takes a lot of time to apply that market to get a result. Is that correct? When people sit down and go, all right, I've bought in, now where's my dividends?
Well, even before they've bought in, when I first started this process, it was all very manual. It used to take me almost 6 months to apply these criteria before I was ready to make a decision. But now we've got these tools, free and paid, where we can put some of these metrics in. They call them screeners, and we can screen the market. And so with my 7 criteria, I can take the Aussie market from 2,300 stocks down to 16 in a matter of milliseconds. just by using a screening tool. And then we teach people a decision-making model to work out which one of those stocks or how many of those stocks should be in their portfolio because they're going to produce above average returns. And we use those metrics, the core metrics, to make that decision about what's the best investment to make. And we can do it in less than an hour a month.
Absolutely. And of course, it's one of those things, make your money work for you.
Absolutely.
Andrew, thank you so much for joining me on the program. Bringing down the fear and apprehension about the stock market. I'll chat to you off air and we'll make sure that I know what I'm talking about. But that's the program for now. I want to thank you for joining us. And of course, the information provided in the program is for general informational purposes only, I should say, and does not constitute professional financial advice. Do your own research. I'll speak to you again very soon. Be well.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.